Hi, welcome to the General Emergency Response Training session. This training is presented by FERST Training Solutions, a provider of national emergency response training. The reason we are here today is under the WHS Regulations 2011, Regulation 43, all facilities must prepare and maintain an emergency plan. This plan shall include emergency procedures and effective responses to emergencies, evacuation procedures, arrangements for notifying emergency services, medical treatment and assistance, and effective communication. This should also include testing of the emergency procedures, including the frequency of testing, information, training, and instruction to relevant workers in relation to implementing the emergency procedures. Most emergency plans are written in accordance with Australian Standard 3745/2010, Planning for Emergencies in Facilities Amendment 2, and your Workplace Emergency Plan. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you with the skills and knowledge to safely and competently respond to on-site emergencies should they occur in accordance with your emergency procedures. Today we'll have a look at emergencies, an introduction to the Emergency Control Organisation, ECO, building life safety systems and equipment, evacuation procedures, and a summary of what you have learnt today. Emergencies are events that arise from internal or external sources that may adversely affect the occupants or visitors in a facility and require an immediate response. Why is emergency response so important? In New South Wales alone, from 2010 to 2015, there were 23,766 accidental fires of which New South Wales Fire and Rescue attended. In 2014, insurance claims relating to fire and smoke incidents were over $135 million. Facilities with a lack of sound procedures result in unsafe outcomes and undue lost productivity. A single building evacuation can last 1 to 2 hours. Take into consideration the number of staff, and this can really add up. For example, 500 staff off-site for 1 hour equals 500 hours of lost productivity. And some buildings experience 10 to 15 alarm activations per year. However, regardless of the previous points, our priority is to protect life over property, production, and the environment at all times. This is why we have an emergency control organisation. Depending on the type of facility you work in, your emergency plan will include some or all of the following types of emergencies identified through an emergency identification risk assessment. This can include human emergencies, bomb threats and suspicious objects and mail, hostile intruder, including robbery and theft, where the intent is to gain access to cash, drugs, property or information, or more serious incidents including active armed offenders. CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear. In Australia, we typically see this play out as white powder. Civil disorder, protests and illegal occupancy, medical and arson. Natural emergencies can include bushfire, severe weather and storms, earthquakes, cyclones, fire and smoke, and storm surges. Technological emergencies can include hazardous material, industrial incidents, structural instability, transport accidents, and toxic emissions through the building HVAC systems. To manage these emergencies within your organisation, in accordance with the emergency plan, you'll have an established, authorised and trained emergency control organisation. We'll have a quick look at what each role entails. The Chief's main role is to control and manage on-site emergencies should they occur. This is done regardless of other management. Once an emergency is identified, control transfers to the Chief Warden and back to normal management in the post-emergency phase. They are identified by a white hat or vest. The Deputy Chief Warden and Communications Officer. They are there to assist or act as the Chief Warden if required. One of the main roles of the Deputy Chief Warden is to keep an accurate record of the emergency. They are identified by a white hat or vest. The floor wardens and wardens within your area are there to relay information from the Chief Warden to you. They may also be involved in carrying out investigations and searches. The wardens are there to safely control and evacuate people from an affected area to an area of safety. So it is important to follow the direction of wardens at all times. They will know what is occurring and other specific information relating to the emergency. Wardens may seek assistance from staff to help with injured or disabled occupants or to ensure an area is clear. Your facility will also have first aid officers. On evacuation, they gather the first aid kit and triage injuries accordingly in the assembly area. The first aid officers are identified by a green hat with a white cross. The ECO will act in accordance with the facility emergency plan. They will respond and provide direction to emergencies should they occur in your workplace. This is based on the stay or go decision process. It is important to know who is a member of your ECO, where are they located and how do I contact them in an emergency? What are my responsibilities pre, during and post-emergency? This information will be in your emergency plan. Next up, we'll have a look at building life safety systems and equipment. Some facilities will have a fire indicator panel or may in fact have no monitored fire alarm system. Connected to the fire indicator panel will be the following: smoke detectors activated by deodorant, hairspray, trade work, cleaning, dust and other particles in the air. Heat detectors activating around 68-70 degrees and upwards depending on their setting. These will be located in wet areas, kitchens and laundries to reduce false alarms, and manual core points or break glass alarms where we can manually raise the alarm. These will link to the fire indicator panel. This can be located in the main foyer of your facility or your building's fire control room. This will automatically notify OOO, operate building systems such as smoke and extraction fans and close fire doors, and alert occupants through the alert or evacuation tone. Some facility fire indicator panels will have an emergency warning intercom system. This will allow the Chief Fire Warden to manually activate the alert tone, the evacuation tone, use the public address system, and utilise the Warden intercom phones through the building. Alternatively, they'll have a tone generator shown on the right, which will allow the Chief to switch between the tones and make announcements as required. The following two tones are the alert and evacuation tone. The alert tone is identified by a beep beep. And the evacuation tone is identified through the whoop whoop. It is important to note, depending on the type of building you occupy, that some fire panels may be set to alert and others may be set to immediate evacuation. An activated smoke or thermal detector shows a solid red light. This is key to the wardens in the area searching for the location and cause of the alarm. They must find the alarm, find the cause and communicate this to the Chief and emergency services. Your facility will have a variety of extinguisher types and fire hose reels. Although easy to use, it is important only trained and authorised personnel use first attack firefighting equipment. The goal is always to protect life over property, and you should refer to your organisation's emergency management plan for guidelines of the use of extinguishers and other equipment. When fire wardens are utilising fire extinguishers in a facility, they need to clearly identify the type of fire. This is broken down into several classes. Class A, combustible materials such as wood, paper, plastic and rubber. Class B, flammable liquids. Class C, flammable gases. D, flammable metals, E, electrical equipment, and Class F, fats and oils. Once they have identified the type of fire, they need to identify the correct type of extinguisher as shown on the table. They must also be able to stand within 2 metres of the fire, and they never fight fire alone, so they'll always need a second person present. When using extinguishers, our wardens and trained personnel will follow the PASS acronym: pull, aim, squeeze and sweep. Contact your chief warden for more information on the use of fire extinguishers relevant to you. Sprinklers may or may not be present in your facility. These are designed to prevent fire spread through the structure and onto other buildings. An activated sprinkler will always result in the building being evacuated due to the other hazards present. Most building sprinkler systems will release around 200 to 300 litres per minute and will often cause flooding. In an emergency, we always follow the marked egress paths and exits to safely evacuate a building. These safe exits will be identified by a green exit sign. An unmarked exit may lead you to a courtyard, alleyway or somewhere you can't escape from. Along those egress paths, you'll see your emergency lighting. These emergency lighting systems are not part of the detection system. They will activate during a power failure and provide 90 minutes of light. Fire doors provide varying levels of fire resistance. They can be moved through to egress a building if required. Ensure at all times that fire doors are not obstructed, secured, closed or blocked in any way, as these provide very important fire compartmentation. Smoke doors throughout a facility will generally incorporate building security features such as swipe card or proxy access. It is very important to report faulty swipe access doors, as they may also malfunction in the event of an emergency. As a fire warden, it is very important to have access to all zones in your area, and building occupants need to be able to exit these zones. Fire stairs provide egress for mobile occupants and safe refuge for non-mobile or injured occupants in the event of an emergency. Using the fire stairs, it is important to stay to the left in a single file. No food, drinks or bulky items should be carried. However, if you are required to evacuate with equipment such as computers or laptops, ensure this is safely secured in a bag or satchel. Remember that people with disabilities or injuries may need to seek refuge in the fire stairs. Evacuation diagrams will be located throughout your facilities. These will provide a section of the floor plan showing a "You are here" location. It'll give you your designated egress paths, designated emergency exits, fire stair locations, emergency equipment locations, emergency information, and your assembly area locations on a site map. Consider in your workplace: who is the ECO member in your area or floor? What emergency warning system is present in your facility? Where are your exits located and where is the assembly area? Are the exits unobstructed and clearly marked? What equipment is present in your location and who is trained to use it? Where is your emergency plan located? Where are the evacuation diagrams in your area? In Section 3, we'll have a quick look at emergency procedures. If you have a vision, hearing or mobility impairment, or anything else that may prevent you from evacuating yourself, you'll need to chat to your warden to ensure you have a PEEP, a Personal Emergency Evacuation Plan. The PEEP record will allow the Chief Warden to track and ensure all staff are evacuated or in a safe refuge until emergency services can assist you. A building with a sound PEEP register in place would look like this on clearance of the building. Level 1 all clear, PEEPs 1 and 2 in the south fire stairs with an assistant. At this point, the warden would be able to remain with you in location until assistance arrives. Fire and smoke. On identifying fire and smoke in our workplace, we follow the RACE procedure: Remove, alert, contain, evacuate. On seeing fire and smoke, our first priority is to remove all occupants to a safe area if safe to do so. Stay out of danger. Do not take risks that endanger yours and other lives. Do not use the lift if there is smoke or fire present. Alert people nearby and raise an alarm. Activate a manual call point or break glass alarm, or yell fire, 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 and ensure all occupants are made aware of the emergency. Call 000 if required. Ensure wardens are notified of the location, status, and type of emergency. Contain the fire and smoke. Restrict the spread of fire. Attempt to extinguish the fire by operating the appropriate first attack firefighting appliance. Only attempt this if trained and safe to do so. Close doors and windows and shut down the building HVAC system if manually controlled. Evacuate to a safe area. Evacuate the building via the nearest safe exit. Proceed to your designated assembly area and wait for direction. Know the location of all firefighting equipment in your area. Alternatively, we do not see fire and smoke, but we have an alarm activation in your facility. Here, the Chief and Deputy will proceed to the fire indicator panel located in the main foyer or the fire control room. Wardens will report to their warden intercom phone or the fire indicator panel. The Chief will identify the location of the alarm and make an announcement. From here, wardens will inspect the alarm location for fire, smoke, or a false alarm. What do? You secure sensitive data and materials, gather personal belongings if nearby, and stand by for further information. Leave your area immediately if there is signs of fire and smoke or other danger present. In some facilities, an immediate evacuation may be required under the authorised procedures. In this case, proceed immediately from the building or as directed by the warden team. For buildings with a two-stage procedure system, alert and evacuate tone, await instructions from the Emergency Control Organisation or the commencement of the evacuation tone. If instructed to evacuate, all occupants must follow the direction of wardens, proceed to the nearest safe exit and to the nominated assembly area. The location of your assembly area will be shown on your evacuation diagrams and will be generally marked by a green assembly area sign. The final check. One of the most important roles of the fire wardens is to do a final sweep of the building. They will inspect all areas, such as toilets, common areas, and staff rooms. They will report anyone who refuses to evacuate, assist people with injuries or disabilities accordingly, and report to the Chief Warden that the area is clear or that they are unable to clear the area if danger is present. They may get you to assist with the sweep or to help another person to safety. In this situation, you will be deputised. After hours evacuation procedures. It is important to note that after nominated business hours, there may be no ECO present. In this situation, gather items and secure your area. Gather others in your area, but do not sweep through the building. Evacuate immediately to the front of the building, not the normal assembly area. Call 000 as required and await arrival of emergency services. At no point do you re-enter unless directed by emergency services. Lifts are not to be used in the event of a fire unless approved by a fire service engineer. Lifts could stop due to electrical or mechanical failure. Smoke can enter lift shafts and cause breathing difficulty. They have been known to redirect to the fire level. Smoke may cause door sensors to stay open. Lifts may be called to the ground floor and secured by the ECO. Internal and external emergencies. You may need to evacuate for non-fire and smoke-related emergencies and no danger may be clearly present to you in your area. This can include bomb threats and suspicious objects, gas leaks, internal flooding, structural damage, water and sewerage issues, electrical failures, civil disorder and active armed offenders. The Chief and Wardens will provide direction on what to do and where to evacuate to. So to summarise on what we've covered today, remember the role you play in emergency response in accordance with your emergency plan. Remember RACE, remove, alert, contain, evacuate. On alarm, secure your work, gather personal items and stand by. Follow warden directions at all times. Remember, it may not be fire and smoke related. It is important at all times to stay safe, protect life over property and be prepared. Always refer back to your Chief Warden and emergency plan if you are unsure. Thank you, and please contact us at www.first.com.au if you require any further advice, training or equipment.